There are a lot of people in the world who once had a lot of money and wasted it. Immediately, names like Mike Tyson, Protester, Clutch, Alberto Valor, and others come to mind. This demonstrates unequivocally that wealth is not a cure for poverty. So I'll explain why having a high income doesn't necessarily translate into wealth in this video. But before we get deeper, if you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. So, without further ado, let's get started. When something or someone is constantly taking a significant chunk out of your pay, it can be difficult to feel wealthy. When compared to people who live at the top of the food chain, things like spending money on necessities like food and saving money for the future don't feel like luxuries. Comparing yourself to your neighbor who regularly cruises the streets in a luxury vehicle makes it nearly impossible to feel wealthy. However, it's possible that while your neighbor might be headed for financial ruin, you are on the road to wealth. Believe it or not, there was a time when professionals on the rise considered earning six figures to be a significant accomplishment. You could own a large number of door attendants, drive a European car, dine in upscale establishments, and take a vacation to the Maldives if you were young and single in one of the country's major cities. Married people having a large suburban home and a sizable college fund for your kids were prerequisites. $100,000 was a lifestyle that was enjoyable and also a sign of status. To achieve these six-figure goals required joining the financial elite. These people put in years of labor, confident that their efforts would be rewarded and that the social contract would be securely in place to ensure a happy retirement. As a result, a lot of people fantasize about making six figures someday. But $100,000 today doesn't offer the same advantages. Because of consumer-driven inflation, $100,000 is now merely the starting point for having some financial wiggle room. Nowadays, making at least $250,000 as a single person is required to get ahead financially. More and more people are beginning to understand that there is never enough money. The one who earns it makes enough of it or labors to produce what he deems sufficient. Because of this, having a high income does not automatically translate into wealth. In this video, I'll discuss the guidelines to follow and actions to take to achieve your definition of wealth. People who struggle financially despite having meager incomes are so prevalent in today's society that an acronym was created for them. The term HENRY stands for High Earners, Not Rich Yet. This acronym has come to represent a specific class of high-earning workers, most of whom are millennials. Experts estimate that the average Henry makes over $100,000, is in his early 30s, and struggles to maintain a balance between his spending and saving habits as a result of the struggle. They are not progressing towards their financial objectives and are falling behind in accumulating wealth. Their predicament is partially attributable to their comfortable, if not luxurious, lifestyle. But one could also point the finger at the economy, which appears to be doing well but is bubbling over with tension. Henry's biggest financial problem is that they frequently overspend and suffer a decline in the standard of living. In general, you run the risk of going overboard when you punch above your weight, and that's a contributing factor to the issue of those with high incomes who lead extravagant lives. If you're determined to live an abundant life, you know that earning more money should only result in greater savings and investment. When the cost of living increases at the same rate as your disposable income, you have a serious issue. They shouldn't have to spend more money simply because Henry's income is increasing. They shouldn't go over budget. If they become accustomed to making $3,000 or $4,000 a month, they might find themselves spending $10,000 a month when they awaken 10 years from now. A few Henrys discover that their expensive habits prevent them from amassing true wealth. These include traveling abroad, lodging in five-star hotels, and owning or renting two homes. These people don't seem to be able to give up this way of life. These lifestyle decisions are in sharp contrast to the best practices frequently recommended by experts. Building wealth requires avoiding a lavish way of life. Even though these high earners aren't doing themselves any favors to begin with, they are also being held back financially by uncontrollable forces. Follow along in this video and I'll explain this as we go. The affordability crisis is affecting millennials. Whether they are aware of it or not, the current rise in stock markets may give the impression that the economy is improving. Additionally, the US has managed to keep its unemployment rate at 3%, which is a half-century low. But this is not the complete picture. The fact that living expenses have skyrocketed and income growth hasn't kept up has generally been ignored in statistics. It's very useful to know that from 1979 to 2017, the income of young adults only increased by 29%. On the other hand, the national healthcare costs per person have increased by $9,000 since 1970, while the median price of homes has increased by 39%. However, since then, the cost of education has more than doubled, with more money being spent on student loans than ever before. The average student debt of a 21-year-old graduate who took out a student loan is $29,800, and the total national debt owed on student loans has reached a record high of $1.5 trillion. The fact that the general cost of living is increasing may also be of interest to you. In 1987, if you were a resident of the New York metropolitan area, you would likely have had to pay close to $100,000. However, that would cost you about $170,000 today. In this case, the price might be a contributing factor, but today that would set you back about $170,000. The price of commodities saved by poorly mobile professionals may be one factor in the explanation. The essential $449 iPod has replaced the necessary $75 Sony Walkman of the Reagan years. We also have $170 diesel jeans that replace $30 Levi's, $3 to 95-cent flats from Starbucks compared to 25-cent coffee from the deli, and $170 diesel shoes that replace $30 Converse. It's clear from all of this that having a good income and being a spendthrift can be deadly, especially when you consider the fact that life is neither simpler nor less expensive. Income is necessary, but how you use it to build your wealth is more important. Utilizing savings for long-term economic stability is part of wealth building. Prioritizing long-term financial success over instant gratification or luxury items can be difficult. Technology has made a fast life even faster, which makes it difficult to resist. Most millennials no longer understand the value of postponing gratification. Even though a luxury car may make you feel wealthy right now, you might feel differently when you enter your tournament with little money saved. So keep in mind that having a high income does not necessarily translate into being wealthy. Spending all of your income will prevent you from becoming wealthy. It is that easy. You won't become wealthy if you earn a six-figure salary but spend it all. I do have some good news to share with you though. Any income, no matter how large or small, can be used to build wealth. Instead of spending money on unnecessary luxuries that only make you appear wealthy, you can start now. Earn more money and concentrate on saving money and accumulating wealth. Of course, earning more money makes it easier to accumulate wealth. Naturally, earning more money makes it easier to accumulate wealth because you can afford to save more after paying for necessities. It's also smart to make an effort to lower your expenses while raising your income. The more money you can save for long-term wealth, the more room you can make for your income and expenses. However, you must first understand where wealth can be created. Today, knowing your income, expenses, and savings will help you decide how to approach investing. You cannot have expenses that are greater than or equal to your income. Additionally, if your expenses are already low, you must find a way to increase your income. It's crucial to regularly review your income and expenses if improving your financial situation is your goal. Make sure you don't use more than is required. Yes, it seems straightforward, but you might be surprised by how quickly expenses can outpace income. You must be sincere and account for all costs that pertain to Henry. There is always room for cost-cutting since these people lead lavish lives. Once they begin to take your future seriously, expenses can be cut by minimizing, dining out, using more cost-effective transportation, or simply downsizing their living space. It's time to take care of any debts once expenses are under control. I'll be honest, anyone who is in debt will find it extremely challenging to increase their wealth. The fundamental idea behind it all is that you cannot accumulate wealth if you don't first save and then invest, which is complicated when you have to regularly pay interest. When you have money saved, you can begin investing. You can increase the value of your assets more quickly by putting your savings into wise investments. When inflation erodes the value of your savings, you should invest that money rather than leave it idle in a savings account. Wealth starts to materialize when someone makes wise investment decisions. You can concentrate solely on your retirement accounts, amass an impressive stock market portfolio, or generate a consistent cash flow through real estate. In general, as long as you save and invest money wisely, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It's not about your income, contrary to what many financial advisors would have you believe, but rather how much money you make. To further clarify in this video, I'll walk you through two scenarios. Who is wealthy and who is not is ultimately up to you. So, 30, a university graduate, is our first friend. He strives to save 20% of his monthly income and lives modestly, keeping most of his expenses to a minimum. 30 will begin earning twice as much after a few years. He continues to save some of his income even though he is now married and responsible for a family. After some time, he starts a retail business, which makes him more money. 20 years later, 30 still has his savings, and his investments show that he has good money management. Fire, who is also an alumnus of an Ivy League university, is here in the meantime. He receives a handsome salary. He is smart and diligent, but he also enjoys living lavishly. He drives a high-end vehicle and lives in a magnificent home. Not to mention, his wife has access to lavish jewelry and clothing, and the kids have everything they need. Fire, however, has little savings and lives paycheck to paycheck. He has also had trouble making money on his investments due to the flashy lifestyle he and his family lead. After some time, he realizes he is spending more than a year, and even though Fire earns a sizable monthly salary, it is likely that his family would become impoverished if he ever lost his lucrative job. As you can see, each of these two men has a deeply ingrained habit, one of which is healthy and the other unhealthy. Develop the habit of spending less than you make, saving and investing as a result. Of course, having a high income is advantageous because it makes life simpler and may speed up the process of wealth creation. However, you shouldn't exaggerate your way of life to fit in. Therefore, it is harder to stay on track if you approach wealth creation with the mindset that you are giving something up. Reduce your extravagances so that you can invest and save. There is no loss. It will be worthwhile because of what you stand to gain in the long run. Well, there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell button to get updated on our latest videos. Don't forget to like this video and drop a comment. See you next time.